pass him.
First lap is neutral, and then we'll
So one last thing in this race is we have a special prize in this race. It is going to...
Hey guys, so that was my first crate race in Ontario last year actually. So I was looking in my old videos and I found this video and I thought, let's have a shorter version of this with the commentary and see what I actually did wrong, and perhaps that could be the same case for you guys if you are starting to race this year or perhaps from next year. So the full version is already available in my channel, so this one is only a 7 minutes shorter version. So as you see there, the race started with a neutral lap, and so I'm just gonna fast forward this to the actual start point. So basically they do this in order for the people to get settled and then set the pace, and in a moment you see that we're gonna start the actual race right now. So I was pretty nervous actually before the start, and I thought there's a high probability that I'm gonna be dropped. So I had chosen a very conservative approach, basically just to sit down and see what I can do in the race. Just suck all the draftings, don't do any attacks, don't chase the attackers, and then see if I can actually finish my first race. And so that's pretty much it. It was almost a boring race up to the last 2 laps actually. So for instance here, I mean the line that I took for the corner was okay, not the best one, but here you see there's a gap open. I wasn't panicked, so I was just doing conservative mode. You see now I'm just doing 0 watts and I'm enjoying my draft, and I'm almost sort of on a heavier side of a rider, so every time we go downhill I can use my weight, my leverage. But now going back up towards like 1 to 2% gradients, I had to just put out 300-400 watts every time. Still, you see I was sort of mixed in the group, and I was choosing to be way too conservative. So that was pretty much the first lap. In order to make it more interesting, I'm just gonna fast forward to the 2 laps to go, so we're gonna have more actions over there actually. Alright, so actually this is 3 laps to go. Yeah, so 3 laps to go. Up to this point I was just following the group. I was sitting and then basically doing nothing. My heart rate was still high, but it's still manageable for me, right? So let me just point out some of the mistakes that I figured out. Now you see the gradual increase in speed as we are going towards the final laps, and my major mistake at this point was not to passing gradually all these people. So I was almost in the middle of the pack, so out of like 55-60 people I was in the middle of the pack, like 40 or 30th people. So I had to gradually increase my speed, and instead of getting drafting right here, for instance, with just burning a little match, one push, I could have easily passed 5 up to 8 or even 10 people before the final lap. I believe the time I realized the race is getting over and I don't have to be this conservative, it was already too late. Okay, so now we are approaching 2 laps to go, and as you see I'm still in the middle of the pack, just getting drafting from the group that I was following, and just basically sucking wheels. You see, for instance here there was an opening, so I had to burn a small match, and I could have easily passed 10 people right here. So I'm just gonna fast forward. This is 2 laps to go. You see people are starting to panic because that was an early race, So the pros would have raced after this. So they are mostly newbies and newbies like me with a bit more perhaps experience. So here I can see after a year that that was another mistake of mine. You see the pack is starting to slow down. That would be a perfect place for me to just take another line and then easily pass 10-15 people before we hit the corner, right? Because at this corner the speed tends to go higher, and then people will start to have a short sprint here, and it's going to be harder when people are going faster, you know, when you want to pass them. So now we are approaching the final lap. Still in the conservative mode. I'm still panicking I might get dropped, and I didn't go for the left line right here. If you see those 3 riders on the left, I could have just easily followed those wheels and passed all these cyclists at once, right? But again, I decided to stay with the pack and do nothing, just basically sitting down and then perhaps finish my first race. Alright, so now actually it's going to be the final lap, right? So at this point, people heard the bell and then all of them got panicked. There was no strategy or teamwork here, basically. There were teams, but they were not working together that much. So here also another mistake I can see. I could have easily taken the wheels of 371, right? The cyclist number 371, and I have, as you see, he's or she is like 10-15 places ahead of me right now before taking the corner, right? Now I have a huge gap to follow. I had to just put out 600-500 watts just to come back to where I was. So now I can definitely see my mistakes after a while, and you know, getting a little bit of more experience in riding. So these are the small things that just adds up, and then you see finally in your final tally you're gonna be in the middle of the pack, right? So I'm just sitting down and then basically sprinting, even not out of the saddle because I was like attached to my seat post, right? So I did my best, and then finally I finished in the middle of the pack, perhaps number 27 or 28 out of around 50 people, right? Anyhow, that was a good experience for me. So I hope you guys can see and learn from my mistakes and do better in your own races. All right, see you guys later.